Before I get started on this week's watch list, head over to ZTRADEZ.net. Check out the terms and conditions page. It's in the description of this video. If you agree, feel free to watch the video. If you don't watch the video and don't join the community, as well as our newsletter in the description below. Big, beautiful bill, the triple B coming. I haven't read into all of it. I'm sure there's some things in there that I really agree with, and there may be some things that I disagree with. I look at it as this. It doesn't matter who's in office. The debt ceiling is going to go up. They're going to kick the can up the hill. But what are they using that money for? Is it going to go off to foreign conflicts? That's the worst way. That is the worst way that we could spend money. And that's not the case here. It's going to stay on our soil. This is going to create a lot of jobs. I have to see all the arguments, though. Don't attack me. I haven't looked at the whole video. If you disagree, explain why in the video. If you agree, explain why in the description below. Again, I have not read. I like to take a while to formulate an opinion. I'm not just going to say, well, that's not my politician, so I disagree. That's ignorance. That is my politician. I agree. That's ignorance. Right? I want to read everything, and I want to hear everybody's opinion from opposite ends, people in the middle. I want to see everything, then read it for myself. I haven't had time to do that. All I know is that money is going to be here on our soil for the most part. It's going to be reviving some old industries. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but there's some equities I'm going to have my eyes on. Here's what I'm afraid of, right? And we're going to get to everything. We're going to get to everything here. Is before I go into everything, I may be talking about things that are bullish, but watch out because we have the tariff deadline. Tariff deadline is coming on July 9th. Okay, this watch list video is going to be loaded. It's coming July 9th. So there could be a sell-off into that. There very well could, or they could extend it. And if they extend it, it's going to make them, in my opinion, it's going to accelerate the upside of everything here. And just like if there's a catalyst way out at the end of the year, like in December for rate cuts, September or December, then that just gives the reason a market to price that in early. It'd be better that way for the market, not the American people, but it'd be better that way to set it up like that, where there's now a catalyst in the future here. Anticipation. Market likes anticipation more than the actual events. I just explained that. But yeah, sorry, I'm getting sidetracked here. So that could give the market a reason to rip and tear until the end of the year. We'll see where we're at then and what else is in the future. But you see how things just keep getting dragged along and the market follows. SPY, we're in no man's land. We can't really judge. We can with Fibonacci's. So you would have to do Fibonacci retracements here to judge where we're going to go next on the S&P. Usually every time we hit an ATH, there is a sell-off, and that could be the reason for the sell-off. RSI is red hot right now. That could be the reason for a possible sell-off into the tariff deadline on July 9th. So this flag that I had posted was it in the watch list? It was in the Discord watch list, and I posted it on my X account, really played out. Posted at $5.99, and we saw 616. Absolutely crazy. We have projections to 640 on SPY here. So let's go ahead and keep looking here. So IWM, let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at IWM. Every July, guys, every July, not 100% of them, I shouldn't say that. The majority of Julys, there is a decent move that I've seen on IWM. We have a low volume area here to 219. I've already taken a little bit off. I called these things over here at 209, and this thing sold 217. So it's had a fantastic, I should have been, in my opinion, over in here on, when was monthly expirations? June 20th, right here. Should have been in on that day. But anyways, let's go ahead and pull up a weekly. We're going to go to July. See if I can do it here, because I've usually charted this on TOS. Okay. Let's go ahead and All right, we're going all the way back. Did it do it? It did do it in 2022. Here's July 4th, okay? We had a low of 167. This is post-Russell rebalance, all right? The rebalance happened Friday at 5, I think Friday. I don't know the exact time. We don't need to know it. 167, okay, to 202. That is a whopping run. A whopping run right there. That is crazy. Okay, that doesn't look like a big run, but if you were in OTMs and let them run ITM and we're taking some off on the way, using a quarter of the profit for peace in August into September, come on, man. Let's go over to 2023. May, June, July. Yep. Same thing. June, July. Low right here, and it was on the 20 of 180. High of 190. Well, in July, around 198. $18 move. And then puts seem like a fantastic idea into September and quad witching then, which is probably how I'm going to play this, except there may be rate cuts in September, so we may run up into that. I don't know. Let's take a look at last year. Okay, look at the date down here. Make sure you're looking at the date. Don't look at my cursor up here. Look at the date, then look at my cursor. June, July. Okay, 200 with a high of 228. $28 move with a fall into August from 228 to 196. I mean, you could have played both sides. Now what do we have? Now we're already starting. It's not even July. Well, it's going to be July on Tuesday. And we've almost filled on the weekly here. If we can surpass that right there, this little volume shelf, the volume kind of peels off. So it would be easier, in my opinion, for this to make a decent move. You know, and I wish I was in like over in here and we were right here right now ahead of this candle. But unfortunately, I had been entering here at the bottom of this candle. And this thing was at 209. We're currently at 215. Positions are doing fantastic. I'm playing the Russell rebalance. Let's keep moving on here. Tesla. Am I going to play what I'm going to point out here? No, but let's just talk about it anyways. It's kind of in the middle. If it's in the middle, I'm just not going to do anything. A lot of times I won't do anything at all. We're below the 20. We've got the 100. We got a bunch of stuff here, but this is a low volume area. We could easily, in my opinion, 308, 299, 293, 285. That would be the ultimate low, in my opinion, if we see some downside. The big, beautiful bill passes. You know, what's going to happen, guys, when the big, beautiful bill passes, and then on top of that, China and the U.S. come to a trade agreement, and then inflation doesn't go up, and it keeps dropping. Everything the media said was wrong. You got to keep in mind, the media is on one side. So when they bring these experts in to explain things on why it won't work, it's one-sided. We need to see both sides. Right? So then you got to go hunting for someone who has a, you know, my argument at the beginning of this is the trade war will end, and when it ends, you know, it'll do what it did last time. We've already been here. I've been here before. A lot of you guys came in during the pandemic. We went through a trade war as well, and we won it. It wasn't exactly what we wanted. It wasn't exactly what China wanted. At the end of the day, the market reacted in a very, very fantastic way, and we continue. 2019 was a year that was better than COVID. People think COVID, you could have bought some decent lows, but the problem is the IV was so bad. I don't want to get too far off topic. I'm going to bring it in. The IV was disgusting. If you tried to swing, if it was flat at all, you were just cooked like that. And IV was peeling off as the market was going up, so it was kind of hard for things worked out if you held them and let them run deep in the money, but it wasn't like 2019. 2019, oh my gosh, I've never seen it. It was just ridiculous. It was ridiculous. Visa, MasterCard, McDonald's, Home Depot, Nvidia, Netflix. Netflix was the one back then. I mean, it was ridiculous. Goldman Sachs, that was a moneymaker for me. Johnson & Johnson, all those right there. It was so simple. Anyways, Getting off topic. I'm reminiscing. BA. Here's something I'd like to look at. That gap that got filled. Let's go to a weekly. Let's zoom out. Let's turn this off. Let's put my mug over here. You know what? We got this gap at 244. This has been building since COVID. Again, this has been building since COVID. All right, let's go to a monthly. All right, let's draw it out. Come on. Come on. We get past, look how the volume peels off. There's like none over in here. This could see, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. I'm going to do a put credit spread on this thing. This thing was just 120.33 in April. I'm going to go put credit spread, it looks like. I don't like that we've had, 3 months of running up, though. That's the only danger on that. I may wait. I'd love to see us come back down into this and this get tighter and tighter and then go again. But this is, if it's been building this long, just like the gold cup and handle that was building for 12 years, 10, 12 years, that I had been talking about forever and ever and ever like a parrot, and it finally happened. I called the gold move big time when gold was plummeting in 2022. That was a fantastic move that I called, and bonds dropping TLT. I like these patterns that build for a very long time because it can help you. The move can be aggressive and it can move and play out for a very long time. Let's take a look at, last but not least, my favorite here. We'll go into some energy stocks. Look at this. Ridiculous. Let's go ahead and turn the linear on. Weekly, there's an inverted hammer. I didn't see that till right now. There's an inverted hammer there and here. Look at this. Big, 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 smaller, smaller, smaller. Now there's not a newer low. There's a higher low versus here, higher low versus here, and two inverted hammers. Right? We got the 100. Can we even judge that? Has it been out 100? That doesn't count over there, so we can't judge any of these. We can keep the 20 up. The 200 doesn't need to be there, neither does the 100. Okay? Now, so for the big beautiful bill guys, CCJ, OKLO, we'll be keeping my eyes on that. But I think a lot of that's priced in. I think it's priced in because it's like a known event. Well, you could have that argument with Webull, right? It's a known event. There, the dilution ends. But the counter argument to that is yes, but they're diluting, which is going to pull it down. Right? People are exiting the BULLZ warrants. And if they don't, these things are going to be worth a penny. So let's go ahead and read this. Webull dilution update. All warrants, BULLZ, which is this, must be exercised by June 30th, 2025 at 5 p.m. Eastern. That's tomorrow plus 2 hours, 26 hours from now. Or be redeemed for 1 cent each. Okay, so it's a 1-to-1 transfer. Every BULLZ, oh my gosh, warrant is a bull share. BULLZ for BULL. Ending a key dilution overhang. With the previous high exceeding 80, warrant holders now face a crucial decision. Exercise at $10 or accept a near zero redemption. So they're going to redeem. And I think that this is why this has been selling off. And tomorrow could be the last day. Once this clears, Webull's cap table looks cleaner. Capital influx is likely. And the overhang dissipates, setting the stage for fresh upside potential. I am expecting more downside Monday, but expect upside following this week. So maybe not this upcoming week, but the next. We'll see. I wish I had Fidelity up to see if there's shares available to short, because people were probably shorting every pop here. Let's go ahead and jump onto a lower time frame. A massive pop to, well, it actually went up to 12. I had called it over in here and it went up to 12. We're down again. We look totally fine over here. I mean, this thing doesn't look bad. So there could be possibly more downside. Possibly more downside because I just read why. Right? So I just want to see what it's going to do Monday. And if there is downside and continual selling, we know why, and it'll be a reason for me to possibly buy some more shares, right? Maybe some more options. I mean, I'm locked in not that many here for way out. There was a day I did pretty good. It was a little bit over what I had made that day, and I just threw it all into the profit, into some for September, some for August, at different strikes on bull here. So I'm excited to see how this pans out. Let's take a look at, this was something similar, but not necessarily the same. Let's go over to a weekly on DJT. What the hell was that? That is most garbage. I'm embarrassed that was even up there. I don't want you guys seeing that. Humiliating. This is when people employed, the lockup was over, share lockup. So people knew that. So anyone holding was selling. And if there were shares available to short, they were shorting it. And then people were probably buying puts going into this. So the second that date was up and that's lifted, and people who were restricted from selling are able to sell, that has to do with the warrants, the SPAC, previous employees, previous holders, stuff that went on before this was released to the public on the market. Well, after that, then it's a green light, 1172 to 55. Do you all remember what I had called this in the Discord? It was one of our members that called it, and I was like, that's not a bad idea. I had jumped the gun over in here, I think right around the 20. It was 22 to 24, and I had gotten out. I had gotten in at 14 or 15. Wasn't bad. Obviously, if you held perfectly up to there, which you probably wouldn't have done, would have been better. But this is just an example connecting this to Webull. Does it mean that will happen to Webull? Doesn't. Is it possible? Absolutely, in my opinion. So again, everyone's looking at CCJ. They're looking at, gosh, that run on CCJ. They're looking at CCJ. Where was this gap from? Oh my goodness. Wow. Where I had drawn this. When did I draw this? In 2023? Oh no. With this big volume gap, I did not play that, or I wouldn't have remembered it. We had a volume. Oh wow, look at that play right there. Oh well. There was a piercing candle formation. I could have also played this right here. That's a piercing. Piercing has the highest probability out of any candlestick pattern to work out. RSI is red hot. What's possible is if the big beautiful bill passes, is that there could be a sell-off on CCJ and OKLO. OKLO daily looks hot. You know what doesn't look hot? Is that right there. That does not look hot at all. This body's on the outside of that one. Nah. Higher low, lower low. Body's on the outside. Every body was higher than the last. Like going all the way back to here, every body, the bottom of the body was higher than the bottom of the last body. There. Now it's not. I mean, it's just logic, kind of. But then you look at the daily, it looks good. But I wouldn't be surprised if these sold off. Daily doesn't look bad. It does not look bad at all. But there's a gap here. Volume peels off until about basically there and here. I don't think it's going to go. I don't think I see 27 incoming anytime soon. But that, in my opinion, could be possible. Same with this. We'll see. I may get assigned to some puts there that I'm selling, but then I can just wheel it, right? Anyways, there could be a sell-off on these energy stocks that people waited and then bought C's for the big beautiful bill, and it'll go down, and then they'll be like, what? I don't understand this. Why do I keep losing? It's like, that's not how the market works. Could rip. We'll see. But, I called this out on X over in here because the second Trump was like, he was talking about fast-paced and nuclear, all that stuff for AI. I was like, well, that's it. I'm ready. I was calling this thing over here at $27. I was selling puts on it. I should have had shares. That's when would have been a great time to get in. Flag, bam, another flag, bam. You know, now everyone's going to get in when the IV's like all juicy and hot after a violent, that candle right there would make IV go nuts. And then it's sold off for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 days. Violent upside, then some pretty aggressive downside. 73 to 54. The IV is just, you just can't play it unless you're on the sell side, unless you own shares, you're selling covered calls, or you're selling CSPs at maybe that gap. I mean, that's dangerous. I'm selling the 35s. So, I mean, if worst case it went to there, it's, you know, I sell some cover calls on it. Anyways, getting off topic. If you all like this content, make sure to like and follow for more. Tomorrow is a U.S. holiday, so the market will be closed on Friday. So it's going to be a short week. If you guys have any questions, feel free to contact me in the Discord.